The shocking truth behind the Micah Peavy draft selection by the Pelicans is that it was less about his current offensive output and more about a promise he made during a pre-draft workout. We're going to take a look at this selection inside this edition of Pelicans Digest. What's good with it, everybody? It's Melz On The MIC with Pelicans Digest. Thank you so much for tuning in once again, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I really do appreciate all the love we've been getting. Some of y'all been hitting us up in the comments saying that we're doing a great job, and I really do appreciate it, man. Thank you so much to all the new folks that's subscribing. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and let's get it up to 100 this weekend. We currently at about 70 something right now. Let's get it up to 100 this weekend, man, so we can keep this party rolling as we wrap up more coverage of what happened with the Pelicans at the NBA draft this weekend and their selection in the second round with the 40th pick that they received from Washington for Georgetown player, guard and forward Micah Peavy, who a lot of people, which when this draft pick was made, I was kind of like meh on this. Okay, I was even a meh person on this, and because the first thing I thought of was, damn, another guard, another wing. Don't we have enough wings as it is? And we do. But I also found out more details as I dive deep into this guy's information about his play and his role that could come up in with the Pelicans, and I think this is the role that the Pelicans should use him in. Micah Peavy is a guard from Georgetown. He's 6'6". He's 23 years old. He's one of the older players in this year's draft, but he averaged 17 points, 5 rebounds, which is pretty good for a guard slash forward, and also 3 assists. But I think the stat that's going to point out the real important reason why the Pels drafted him comes on his defensive side. Let's take a look at what was said in the scouting report and Bleacher Report. They say Peavy isn't a self-creator or a natural scorer, and at 23, he's older than most prospects, but still, two-way wings with size are always in demand. And if he sharpens his jumper and develops more 3 and D reliability, he can carve out a meaningful role in the NBA. And the first thought that came to mind was Herb Jones Jr. If y'all recall, when the Pels drafted Herb Jones, probably roughly around the same position a few years ago, Herb was well known as an elite defender, but he didn't have his shot together. His offensive playmaking ability was still kind of questionable. And we've seen Herb take these massive improvements over the years to improve his shot making and his 3 and D selection. So I think this was a great pickup to get a young guy that can hold Herb Jones down in the backcourt for a while, especially in the reserve positions. And also you can have him fit in with Trey Murphy as well. And also you also got to remember that the Pelicans also picked up Saddiq Bey in this trade with earlier this week with Washington, which got you this pick. So with him on the roster as well in the forward big position, and you add in this young man, you could give him time to develop, get better, and also become Herb Jones Jr. 2.0, or maybe even Dyson Daniels 2.0. Who knows? But I think you do take that risk with this guy, despite all the negative that's out there about this situation. And there is a lot of negative, according to Bleacher Report. They say this one may be a little bit shaky, but we're talking about his offense. Over his first 4 years in college, he hit 26% of his threes, and even his 65% free throw percentage in 2024 is a bit concerning. And I do understand those concerns. And you're probably saying, well, why waste a second round pick on him? Well, you get him in the second round because of the upside of his defensive ability. Again, a lot of people have been complaining that there's not enough defense on this Pelicans team. Well, now you got some defense, and you got a guy that you can develop and turn into a scorer just like you did with Herb Jones over the years. Again, Herb Jones is not the best scorer, but he's still an elite defender. How about you get a backup elite defender for Herb Jones in this position? I think this was a great pick. I ain't going to say it was a great pick. It was a good pick. I think we could have did a little bit better with this pick, and I think we could have picked up somebody with a little bit more size. That's one of the reasons why I was kind of meh on this pick, because I think we needed somebody a little bit bigger in that forward role, in that position. But according to a lot of reports, Peavy is one of those guys that will get dirty, will do the little things on the floor. And that's important, especially for this Pelicans team. You got a Jose Alvarado who kind of does that stuff, and you can switch him out and rotate him into a guard position with Peavy as well. But he has a willingness to embrace whatever role he's been given with this team. And I like that. And plus, he can also fill in a little void for Brandon Ingram at times. Some of that offense you just lost with Brandon Ingram as well at the forward position. So I would say, if anything, don't look at him as a guard. because a lot of people are saying, oh man, we got another guard. We got like 10 guards on this team now. Don't look at him as a guard. Look at him for his forward ability, his wing capabilities. I think that's why this is a pretty good pick. I didn't say this was a great pick. I think it was a bold pick by the Pels to pick this guy up and also take some time to develop him. Again, I don't think he's being asked to jump right into the fire and get into the starting lineup. I think they're going to give him the time to develop like they did with Herb Jones. When Herb came into the league, he wasn't an immediate starter. They wanted to immediately start him because of his defensive prowess, but he was a liability on offense. He couldn't score. They gave him the time to develop, and now everybody in the NBA is clamoring for Herb Jones. And I think this could be the same situation with Micah Peavy if he embraces the role with the Pelicans, whether it be in a backup or in a development situation. But I like this pick. I like it. I'm going to just leave it at that. And I would like for you to hit that subscribe button so you can get more details of what's going on with the Pelicans right here on Pelicans Digest. And coming up soon, we're going to take a look at how Joe Dumars is mending the situation with Dejounte Murray. I like what he had to say in his press conference a couple of days ago after the draft about that situation with Murray, and we're going to talk about that in a future video. But in the meantime, we will appreciate your comments. Tell me what you think. Do you like the Micah Peavy pick? Do you think this is a good pick, or do you think we should have went in another direction? Hit me up in the comments and let me know what you think, and make sure you keep it locked and subscribe to Pelicans Digest.